Hello and welcome back to our Lord of the Rings LCG solo progression series, and today's quest is the Siege of Cair Andros, which is the third and final scenario in the Heirs of Numenor Deluxe expansion. A quick reminder, in this series we're playing through each quest in chronological order of the game's initial release, and we'll only be using player cards that were available at the time of this quest release. I'm calling this deck a Fool's Hope, because I would say only a fool hopes to win this quest. It's really difficult. If you happen to draw a Power of Mordor, you lose. If you draw a Battering Ram at the wrong time, you lose. The enemies can overwhelm you, and they can get multiple shadow cards. And so this is a really difficult quest. I'd say it's a little bit of a flip of the coin with this deck. It's a good deck, but the quest just is going to win at certain times, no matter what you do, because you just drew the wrong card. A little bit like Attercop in Return to Mirkwood. If you just get it, your game is over. So we've got a new hero here that we're introducing to the channel, Boromir, and he is notoriously beloved by a certain Cardboard of the Rings host. He was errated. Before that, he was, just bonkers powerful. He has 11 threat, 1 willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, 5 health, and he is a Gondor noble and warrior. He has his action, this is where the errata comes in, raise your threat by 1 to ready Boromir, and there's a limit of once per phase. So it used to be there wasn't a limit. You could just do that however many times you wanted to. So in combat, if you put a Gondorian shield on him, which we don't have that yet in the progression, then then he could just constantly defend and then attack back. Then he has an action that's very rarely used, but it's cool when it happens. Discard Boromir to deal 2 damage to each enemy engaged with a single player. And so that that could come into play. You need to always keep that in mind, that is there in case you do become overwhelmed with enemies. And with Thalin, it's possible that could be useful. So let's get to the quest and see how we do. This one's really fun. And so let's look at our opening hand. We're looking for really defense, which I don't really see a lot of that. So let's go ahead and mulligan our hand. And I'm glad we did, because we got a Winged Guardian out of it. That's a good opening hand in that sense. Some weapons, some card draw here with the Eagles Are Coming, so pretty good opening hand. Let's look at the defense, and I love the art. This is a cool quest. The island fortress of Cair Andros, which guards Gondor's northernmost causeways over the river Anduin, is under siege. Battering rams rumble up the eastern causeway, and rafts filled with orcs float across the river toward the lightly defended northern banks. For setup, we add the approach, the citadel, and the banks to the staging area, then shuffle the deck. So here are those cards: the banks, the approach, and the citadel. And this one contributes 1 threat, 2, and 3. Excuse me. Got a little bit of a cold. This one has 3 progress needed to clear it. This one has 7. This one has 11. Victory points going up from 1, 2, to 3. And they all have they have a text here. If the banks has 3 or more damage, remove it from the game. Do not collect its victory points. If this happens, we'll lose the game, the way that my deck is constructed here. Same thing here. If the approach has 7 or more damage, which that's not progress, that's damage, and that there's just a mechanic in this game where these locations, these Cair Andros locations, can be damaged, or maybe their battleground is what it is. So 7 damage, it leaves the game. Citadel, if it gets 11 damage, it leaves the game. There's a response. After the banks leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 2 from the quest deck. This one says remove stage 3. This one says remove stage 4. There are 5 stages in the game. Quest level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we want to clear, while we're at stage 1, we want to clear the banks, the approach, and the citadel. And then in doing that, we will advance to stage 5 and win the game. So if one of these leaves play, we'll thread out before we can win the game. So we have to clear the banks. So we'll have to travel here, clear it, travel to the approach, clear it, travel to the citadel, clear it, all the while trying to stay ahead of the damage that is being placed on these locations. Let's go ahead and look at the quest deck real quick. I'm going to do it here. So here it is, stage 2, reinforcing the banks. Stage 3, breakthrough at the approach. Stage 4, breakthrough at the citadel, and then the last battle. So the plan is to stay here and clear these locations, And once we've cleared them, we can then advance to stage 5 and just win the game. We're rushing the quest in that way. Okay, so that is it. For setup, the assault is relentless and the defenders grow weary. The tide is slowly but surely turning against you. So we are in siege questing, so characters will use their defensive values instead of willpower when questing. Let's go to options and change over to siege quest. It says players must deal damage from undefended attacks to the lowest threat battleground location in play. These are the 3 battleground locations. And then if there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. So that's why we want to clear these. Generally, this is what happens. I usually don't put 9 progress on the defense. I usually just clear finally the citadel, and because there are no battle locations in play, we immediately advance to the next stage. If, however, Power of Mordor comes out, it shuffles all the cards in the staging area back into the quest deck or the encounter deck, then we would have to advance to stage 2, and we're going to lose. We can't do that. So a little bit of swinginess there. That is it though for setup. Let's go ahead and go to the resource phase. And we'll go ahead and play. The Eagles are coming. We're in planning here. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for any number of Eagle cards and add them to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. We're just hoping for some good card draw here. We got an Eagles are coming out of that, so we'll shuffle the deck and do it again. Drawing from the top 5, any Eagle cards, and we whiffed. Okay. And then I think it's very important that we go ahead. We want to keep our threat from going up, so we're going to put out a Winged Guardian, and we're going to use Winged Guardian just to quest. It's going to contribute 4 defense in the siege quest, and so it's super helpful to have one of these. I think also let's go ahead and attach Blade of Gondolin to Boromir. And this is going to be restricted, so Boromir can only have 2 restricted attachments. Attached hero gets +1 when attacking an orc. There are a lot of orcs in this quest, and it has a response which we'll really enjoy having. Response: after attached hero attacks and destroys an enemy, place 1 progress token on the current quest. Okay, so that's it. We've spent all of our resources, so we're going to quest with Boromir, Thalon, and Winged Guardian. So as you can see, a lot of threats, 6 starting threat in the staging area. So it's really good to have a Winged Guardian or a Defender of Ramos in your opening hand. Okay, we're going to reveal South-Run Mercenaries. All right, so we didn't make any progress. Our threat didn't increase, so that's a good start. During the travel phase, we will travel to the bank. So we're really worried about this because if the next round, if a battering ram comes out, we lose the game because it does 3 damage to the active location. But we have to go to the banks first, then to the approach, then to, you want to really clear the most kind of tender location because this one can leave play more easily. So here we go. We're going to make that the active location, and hopefully next round we can clear it and send it to the victory display. If we do that, usually we'll win the game, usually. All right, so during the encounter phase, our threat is at 32, but we want to deal with South-Run Mercenaries, so we're going to optionally engage him at the beginning of combat. Before getting the shadow card, he does 1 point of archery damage, and we will go ahead and put that damage on Thalon. Okay, he's going to get a shadow card, and he was damaged, by the way, when he came out. I always forget that. It's not really a response, but while Thalon is committed to a quest, deal 1 damage to each enemy as it is revealed by the encounter deck. All right, so this is going to be 3 attack against 1 defense, Beorn. All right, and so, all right, good to see Mumak discarded, because that can be really tough to overcome. A Mumak early on can really ruin your day. No shadow effect, so 2 damage on Beorn, and Beorn can attack for 5, and we destroy South-Run Mercenaries. So I don't always just ready Boromir and use him because we didn't need to. It's nice to put that progress on the banks, but we also want to keep our threat low. And so, you know, when I say put the progress on the banks, I'm talking about this response. But anyway, as it is, we destroyed him, and so we're doing all right. Refresh, and next round. Okay, it's good to have a Goblin Cleaver. That can really help us in this quest because it does 3 damage to orcs when you exhaust an attached weapon. All right, as things stand, I think I'm just going to save my resources because because next round I'd like to play an Eagles of the Misty Mountain. This round I might need to play a Swift Strike. So let's just save our resources here. We're going to quest, and we're making just enough progress to clear the banks, but it's very likely something will come out that will contribute some threat. And so this is where I would have liked to have played like a Defender of Ramos, but I don't have one. Now we reveal Orc Assault. When revealed, each character gets plus or -2 attack and -2 defense until the end of the round. So that's going to be -2 for Boromir, -2 for Thalon, and -2 for Winged Guardian. So we only were able to quest for 2 willpower, so our threat goes up by 3. And so nothing else to do this round though, so we'll refresh and move on to the next round. Let's go ahead and put this Eagles of the Misty Mountain into play. And trying to think what I want to do exactly here. I think I'm going to hang on to my resources for a potential Swift Strike. Let's go ahead and just quest. And that should be enough. We're hoping that's enough to clear the banks. We don't want to see a Battering Ram or a Power of Mordor. And we reveal Orc Assault. Each character gets -2 defense and attack until the end of the round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're again only questing for 2 because Winged Guardian is the only one that has any defense left over. All right, so our threat goes up by 3 again. And we'll refresh, move on to the next round. Let's go ahead and attach, let me think. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play Vassal of the Windlord, and we'll go ahead and put out Trollshaw Scout, and we'll hang on to this resource for Swift Strike. Okay, we're going to quest. We're going to even throw in Trollshaw Scout here because he has one defense. Okay, we're hoping we don't see this card again. We reveal Orc Scramblers with Surges. When revealed, deal 1 damage to each battleground location if able. So 1 damage on each battleground location. This is why you always want to clear the banks first, because things can damage the banks. So you wouldn't want to, well, I'll leave it in staging because it can be a problem. Okay, so Orc Scramblers was damaged by Thalon when he was revealed, and it surges into Orc Arbalesters. And so we made 3 progress, and we cleared the banks. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It goes to the victory display. And so it says, after the banks leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 2 from the quest deck if able. So we can just go ahead and remove reinforcing the banks from the quest deck. Stage 2 is gone. Now we're going to travel to the approach, and Thalon did damage Orc Arbalesters. Okay, during the engagement phase or encounter phase, we're going to engage both of these enemies because our threat is higher than their engagement. Let's go ahead and use Boromir's action. Limit once per round. Raise your threat by 1 to ready Boromir. So we're going to do that during the encounter phase because we can potentially use him to defend and use his action again during combat. Okay, so Orc Arbalesters, before dealing shadows, we have an archery X. X is the number of different resource icons on heroes in play, and this is why you want to have, one of the reasons why you want to have a monosphere deck. So archery 1. We'll put that damage on, we'll put it on Eagles of the Misty Mountain. We'll save our heroes. Okay, so Orc Scramblers is going to attack for 2. Orc Arbalesters is going to attack for 1. Let's defend this attack of 2 with Boromir. We'll save Beorn's damage up as much as possible. Okay, so let me think about this. Maybe it's best to defend against both attacks with Beorn. Well, no. Beorn can... 5 against 2 is going to be 3 damage. It's not quite enough to destroy. Well, what we could do is we could maybe play Goblin Cleaver. Combat action, exhaust a weapon card attached to a hero you control. To choose an enemy engage with you, deal 2 damage to that enemy. 3 instead if it is a orc. Let's let's just defend with Beorn against, for sure we want to do the 1 attack against the 1 defensive Beorn. So here's the Beorn defends without exhausting against Orc Arbalesters. Deal the attacking enemy an additional shadow card for each player in the game. So we'll reveal another shadow card. Attacking enemy gets +1, +3 if it has the Harad trait. It does not have Harad, so that's going to be 1 damage on Beorn. So now I just have to decide what I want to do here with Orc Scramblers. I wish that I had a Gondorian Spearman in play. He's great against Orc Scramblers. It just destroys it. So this is going to be 2 attack. I'll be able to destroy with Boromir and with Beorn. Okay, so we just need to defend here with Boromir. I want to save my Goblin Cleaver. So 2 attack against 1 defense. Beorn's going to defend. Deal 2 damage to the approach if it is in play. Otherwise, attacking enemy gets +2 attack. All right, Battering Ram puts, what's the approach? Yeah, 2 damage. All right, 2 attack against 1 defense means a damage on Beorn. Beorn and Boromir attack for 5 and 4 because Blade of Gondolin gives the attached hero +1 when attacking an orc. So 5 and 4 against 2. That is going to be 7 damage. So we are at 8, which destroys Orc Arbalesters. And there's a response on Blade of Gondolin. After attached hero attacks and destroys an enemy, place 1 progress token on the current quest. So the Orc Arbalesters is gone. Then we'll use, once per phase, you can do this with Boromir. I might would want to just attack him with Vassal of the Windlord. Let's do this. Let's attack with Vassal of the Windlord and destroy Orc Scramblers. And when we destroy Orc Scramblers, because we attacked force after an attack in which Vassal of the Windlord attacked, after an attack in which Vassal of the Windlord attacked resolves, discard Vassal of the Windlord from play. And so we'll attach him to this Eagles of the Misty Mountain. So he gets a boost of +1 defense, and +1 attack. We could have potentially had Horn of Gondor in play, but that's only if a character is destroyed. So yeah, I'm remembering that now. Okay, so refresh, and next round. I'm not overly worried about resources. I think I'd rather put another Blade of Gondolin on Boromir. So now he's going to have +2 attack, assuming that we're attacking an orc. So I'm going to have two Blades of Gondolin out. Not really thinking an enemy is going to, or an ally is going to be, or character is going to be destroyed anytime soon. So let's quest. And so we'll make 9 progress, which hopefully will clear the approach. Let's see. We reveal Orc Rabble. Forced when Orc Rabble is dealt a shadow card, it gets +2 attack until the end of the phase. Well, we made 7 progress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we actually put a progress on the defense. Cair Andros leaves play. Goes to the victory display after the, not Cair Andros, the approach leaves play. And after the approach leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 3 from the quest deck if able. And so we'll send, I'm just sending these to the victory display just to get them out of the way. All right, so now we have to travel to the Citadel. Once we explore the Citadel, we can remove stage 4. And this says players must, well, if there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. So we're hoping to clear the Citadel next round. When it leaves play, stage 4 leaves play, and because it leaves play, then if there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. All right, so here we go. Orc Rabble was damaged by Thalon. It will engage us and get a shadow card, and during the action window, after it engages us, force when Orc Rabble is dealt a shadow card, it gets +2 attack until the end of the phase. Let's go ahead and play Goblin Cleaver. We'll exhaust Blade of Gondolin just to deal 3 damage to Orc Rabble that leaves play. What was the, okay, +2 attack. Okay, refresh next round. All right, it's good to see a feint. I really am trying to hang on to Swift Strike for Haradrim Elite. That's the best card to have against Haradrim Elite. All right, we might as well, I guess, well, let's save our resources. There's no reason to put out Horn of Gondor. Let's quest. And we reveal Haradrim Elite. He's damaged by Thalon. Force. When Haradrim Elite enters play, it makes an immediate attack from the staging area against the first player. So it gets a shadow card. It's going to attack. We'll declare Beorn as a defender, but then we're going to play Swift Strike. Response. After a character is declared as a defender, deal 2 damage to the attacking enemy. And so we can, that's not a combat action, so we can play that and destroy Haradrim Elite outright. All right, good to see that card discarded. So we made 12 progress. We cleared the Citadel. So 11 on the Citadel and 1 on the defense. This goes to the victory display. When it leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 4 from the quest deck if able. And now there's this passive effect on this card. If there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. So we're going straight to stage 5, the last battle. The defenders of Cair Andros have survived brunt upon brunt of the enemy's assault, but the outcome of the battle hangs on the edge of a knife. One last heroic effort is required to save the fortress and win the victory. We are still in siege questing. When revealed, reveal 1 card per player from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. That card is going to be Battering Ram, which has Doom 2. When revealed, if the active location is a battleground, deal 3 damage to it. Thalon did damage Battering Ram because we are in the quest phase. While Thalon is committed to a quest, deal 1 damage to each enemy as it is revealed by the encounter deck. This was revealed from a when revealed. All right. If the players have collected 4 or more victory points, which we have, the last battle gains battle instead of siege. So let's switch over to battle questing now. And if the players defeat the stage, they've won the game. So you can see our threat is really a problem here. We're at 46 threat. Battering Ram will engage us. And we're going to have to... He's going to get his shadow card. Let's play Feint. And combat action, choose an enemy, engage with a player that enemy cannot attack the player that phase. Ugh, I can't talk. All right, so our threat's going to go up by 1 because we're going to ready Boromir. We're going to attack for 5, 3, and that's 8, 9, 10 because of Blade of Gondolin. 10 against 3 is 7 damage. All right, and so we destroyed Battering Ram, and because of the response on both of these Blades of Gondolin, after attached hero attacks and destroys an enemy, place 1 progress token on the current quest. So that's going to be 2 progress tokens on the last battle. What was the shadow? Orc War Camp. Okay, refresh. And next round. Now remember, this is Blade of Gondolin only gives the attacking hero +1 attack when attacking an orc. So Boromir does not actually have +2 attack at this point. All right, so this is where Troll Stress Scout's a little bit more useful than he was. But let's quest. Let's see what we can get if we quest with everybody. We'd make 15 progress. We got to push our luck a little bit. Well, let me think. Do I want to leave Beorn ready? Not really. Let's just quest, and we reveal Orc Vanguard. While Orc Vanguard is in the staging area, resources cannot be spent from the resource pools of heroes who have leadership, spirit, or lore resource icons. We don't have any heroes that have those icons. It's part of why you want to use, one of the reasons why you want to use a mono, and specifically a mono tactics deck. All right, we made 13 progress. We won the quest. So there we go. We're at 48 threat, and we won. Sometimes, though, you just don't win. Sometimes the wrong things happen in the wrong progression. This is my first playthrough, and I just won it, so it's not like I lost against this like 10 times, but what enemies did we not see, really? Lieutenant of Mordor can be difficult. There's just some big ones like Siege Raft. Haradrim Elite, we saw Orc Vanguard. We can even deal with Orc Vanguard. Orc Arsonist is tough. I mean, just a lot of orcs. This is where the Goblin Cleaver is hugely helpful. We never really saw Orc War Camp, but that threat can be a problem. Treacheries, these are the really hard ones. The Master's Malice. Each player chooses 1 sphere of influence. We would choose tactics. Each character a player controls that does not belong to his chosen sphere takes 3 damage. So we have to have all of our characters need to be tactics. Here's the power of Mordor. Doom 3, and when revealed, count the number of encounter cards in the staging area and shuffle them into the encounter deck. Reveal an equal number of cards from the encounter deck and add them to the staging area. So if we got that early on, all those battleground cards would have left play. They would have been shuffled back into the encounter deck, and we would have lost because we would then be forced to travel to the next stage, and we would have threaded out before we could have won. So a little bit of a flip of the coin there. Anyway, so that's it. That's the quest. And so there's a win, a legitimate win, I think. I'll have to watch back to make sure I didn't get any rules mistakes. I shouldn't have actually quested with Wing Guardian because he didn't contribute any attack because we are in battle questing. But that is the quest, and that's a win. So I'll take it. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough, and I enjoyed that one. I think that's a real challenging quest to have built a deck for. I enjoyed the process. And so we'll be moving back to The Hobbit. The next scenarios will be from the On the Doorstep Deluxe expansion, which is the second Hobbit expansion, before we progress on to the Against the Shadow cycle. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you have a great day. Bye.